Hey guys, David here with another figure review, and this time we'll be taking a look at Transformers Generations Darkmount.
No. Can't find what you're looking for. BigBadToyStore.com. It's big, it's bad, it's a toy store. But more importantly, it has it all. From Transformer and Star Trek figures to Dark Knight collectibles and G.I. Joes. It has everything, complete with great customer service. It is the one-stop to shop. BigBadToyStore.com. It's big, it's bad, it has it all. Click the link below and visit now.
Now, prior to this review, I had no idea who Darkmount was. I thought he was just a character that was created solely for the sole purpose of creating a figure for the Generations line, much like how Transformer was. You know, Transformers started off as a toy line, and then they created the characters, or at least created, you know, the personalities for the characters, and then the cartoons, and then the movie, and the comic books, all that stuff. So I thought that they were taking the same approach with the creation of Darkmount here. However, right before I'm recording this review, I went ahead and I looked them up. And aside from being bombarded with all these images of this figure, this very figure that you're looking at, I also found out that Darkmount is apparently part of the IDW comics, as well as the Marvel comics. He was a character in that, the Transformer Marvel comics, as well as part of the Japanese manga. So he is part of Transformers canon. He's just not very well known like, you know, Megatron or Bumblebee or Optimus Prime. So he's very obscure, so I did not know that prior to this review. I thought it was just a figure, you know, that was made for the sake of making a figure. But apparently, you know, that's the whole point of the Transformers Generations line, is to take characters throughout the past generations of Transformers and bring them forwards and create some sort of reimagining. So here we have Darkmount. He is a tank. I do find it peculiar that the front of his vehicle mode does bear a slight resemblance to Wreckage from the Transformers 2007 movie line. My review of Wreckage is up, so feel free to check that out. So here we have Darkmount in his tank mode. He has some really nice sculpt, some really nice detail throughout. Once again, much like with Megatron, this is not so much a complaint as it is just a preference, and that is working treads. Treads don't actually work. Instead, we got these microscopic wheels down here at the bottom. Unlike Megatron, however, he doesn't just rely on those wheels for mobility. He also has these larger wheels, so he does roll around very nicely. So yeah, he looks good. The sculpt is very prominent in this mode. I like, you know, the detailing. It says that they're M17. You guys can see it. There it is, M17. Right there. One of my complaints would be the color scheme. However, I'm not going to talk about it yet because, much like Megatron, I think it's better suited to talk about that in his robot mode because his color scheme becomes a little more prominent. You know, there's a new introduction, a new layer added to his color scheme that appears more in robot mode. So I'm going to go ahead and wait until then to talk about the color scheme. But overall, he looks really good. He doesn't do much except, like I said, move around with his wheels, and his turret here does move up and down. It does not move left to right. However, what does rotate left to right 360 degrees is the entire turret itself. I really like that the fact that this thing can rotate all the way around. Now, it does get a little hindered with these pieces here, but it's not like it's immobile. It does make it all the way through, as you can see. So I do like that they were able to make this entire piece movable and rotatable, because they could have easily made it, you know, static. They could have easily made it so that you can't move it because of the transformation or something like that. But they took one of the points of articulation from his robot mode and turned that into a point of articulation for his alternate mode, his tank mode. So I really like that. I really enjoy it. I mean, it's such a nice little thing like this that makes the alternate mode much more enjoyable. Other than that, this does move. Okay, so if you want to pose it here, or if you want to position it here, you're welcome to do so. And the only other nice little gimmick, it's not, you know, it's nothing too big, but these weapons that he has over here at the top, this one right here on the side, I don't know what that is. Is that a gun or a piston or something? I don't know. But I do know for a fact that this is a gun. This is a very badass looking gun. So he does have a gun right here and a missile launcher over here, War Machine style. And what I like is that these pieces are interchangeable. You could pop them off and you could put the gun over here on the right side. You can put the missile launcher over here at the top. So these pieces are interchangeable. So you can, I guess you could say, you can customize Darkmount however you please. So that's nice. Other than that, that is really pretty much it for his alternate mode. So let's get him transforming. Now, a slight warning or caution note, or whatever you prefer to call it. Darkmount has one of those transformations that I really, it's one of my huge pet peeves with Transformers that I like to call cheat transformations. And the reason why I call them cheat transformations is because it's one of those transformations where it comes with these Ghibli pieces over here in the back, mainly these pieces that make up the tank treads as well as the back of the tank. And basically these pieces get detached from the main body so easily when transforming him, and they get in the way so frequently that when you move your hand or when you move a certain piece, they're going to come off. And they come off so frequently that you just can't help but just detach them, leave them to the side, and then finish the transformation. And once you're done, you take the pieces and you put them back on. This is very reminiscent of the Cybershark figure that I reviewed some time ago. If you guys have not seen that review, you can check it out somewhere on the screen or in the description. I'll put it somewhere. But that figure had the exact same problem where I had these two panels that made up its tail, and every single time I transforming him, those pieces would get in the way and my hand would, you know, move them to a certain angle where they would just pop off. And because they popped off so frequently, I was like, just screw it. I popped them off, I set them to the side, I finished the transformation, and then I took those pieces and put them back on. And I feel like I'm cheating because the instructions say, oh, you know, keep them on, just rotate them a certain way and they'll get out of the way. But anyways, enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and get the transformation started. First thing that I want to do is take these panels here and rotate them up, and then rotate them to the sides like so. I'm going to go ahead and take this piece and rotate it upwards like that, because it keeps, that's another thing, is that this piece is a little bit loose. So it's almost like a scale, you know, the sliding scales that they, you know, that gyms and whatnot, like doctor's offices have, you know, where they go like this. Oh no, you weigh some more. Oh, you're fatter. Okay, anyways, yeah. It moves around very loosely like that. So I just like to take it, push it that way, get out of the way. So let's go over here in the back and go ahead and separate those two pieces that I was talking about, like so. And they are attached to the arms right here. Now, that's also another thing that I wanted to talk about in alternate mode, and that is that there is a little bit of kibble. His arms are showing a little bit, but you know, the figure's not supposed to be posed upside down in his vehicle mode, so you know, you can't complain about that too much because it's not supposed to show in the first place. Now, if there were pieces showing when you're supposed to position him like so, like if his arm was clearly visible or his head was clearly visible right there, then that would be a problem, and that would be a major complaint of mine. But that's not the case, all right? You would have to rotate it all the way and be like, oh my god, there's kibble right there. Okay, so yeah, it's not a huge deal. So moving on, I'm gonna go ahead and take these two pieces and separate them. And this is going to go ahead and separate this piece right here from the turret that's going to form his legs. And we're just going to go ahead and rotate this up a little bit to kind of get out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and detach the arms from these pieces here. And I'm actually a little surprised that the panels haven't come off yet. It's a little interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and take the arms and detach them from those panels. Like that. And actually here is where it's going to get a little bit tricky. These panels not only are attached to the arms, but they're also attached, I don't know if I can show you guys this, but they're attached right there. So you just need to pop them off like so. And there they go. There they go. All right. So we're just going to set that to the side. Damn it. Pop them off right here. And this one sticks on just a little tighter than the other one. This one's a little more loose. I don't know if it's the joint or the plastic. I don't know if it's molded a certain way or if it's simply just, you know, wear and tear. But let's go ahead and just detach this one as well, because eventually it will come off. So there you go. I'm just going to detach it, set it to the side. I know that this feels like it's cheating, but that's just the way it is. Alright, moving on. So we're going to take these arms and rotate them forwards. And before we do that, we're going to take this entire piece. It was originally like this. We're going to take this entire piece right here that's also attached to the wheel, like so, if you guys can see. And we're going to take it and press it inwards so it could make that, you know, transformer looking effect. Take it, flip it inwards, and as you can see, the wheel is now perpendicular to the top piece of the body. I'm gonna take the wheel over here on this side and push it inwards like so. And as you can see, it's now very perpendicular to the body. So I'm going to take the arm, rotate it forwards, make sure the ball joint is showing of the top arm. Bend at the elbow to make sure that it's facing the right way. Like so. And these panels right here are going to form his shoulder guards. So we're going to rotate them backwards so that it protects his shoulders. Like so. And you can leave them up like so, like that, or flip them down. It doesn't matter. It's a preference thing. All right. So basically, we will almost have the top half done. All we got to do now is just take this piece with the Decepticon insignia and flip it forwards, like that. And then we're gonna reach and stick my finger up this piece right here. Press up so we can reveal his head. So we're gonna press upwards and pop out his head, like that. Make sure that the piece that the head is attached to is lined up with the rest of the body. Take this panel and flip it down and make sure it's lined up so that it clasps all the way down. And there we have the top head, and another piece came undone. Yeah, this piece right here comes undone quite frequently, except I think it's simply just wear and tear of the figure after all these years, because this figure I believe was released in 2010 along with the rest of the Generations line, from especially the War for Cybertron figures. So it's been a few years, you can say. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and form the bottom half with his legs. Here is where, in my opinion, the transformation gets quite fun. Because honestly, I don't know what it is, but there's something about the transformation of his legs that just, it's very fun. It's very innovative. I like it. What can I say? Basically, his legs are folded into themselves to form this compartmentalized turret for his tank mode. And basically what you have to do is extend these pieces, and to do so you have to take these panels right here. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to go ahead and get a little close to the camera. These panels right here, and open them up like so. And inside is his leg. And you don't flip it out, but basically the inside is the top half of his leg, his thigh. And basically you just take this piece, detach it from the center, and flip it down and extend it like so, like that. So he's pretty much done. There you go. And that forms his leg. And you repeat the same thing with the other side. Take this panel, flip it up like so. Let's get the arm out of the way, and just take it, detach it from the center piece of the body, because there's a tab. Let me see if I can show it on this side. There's a tab right there. This one right there. This tab locks on to this piece and keeps it from moving anywhere during his tank mode. So obviously right here you have to detach like so, and then extend his leg like that. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it on this side and extend his leg. And before we go on, as you can as you can see, the turret for his tank is lodged in his behind via a peg right there. There's a hole right there, and the peg from this turret is attached to it. So all you gotta do is just take it, pop it off, and let's leave it to the side. I'll transform it later when he's all done. Alright, so now we go to the front here. We take this piece that was connecting the leg portions to form the turret and flip it up to form his crotch piece. And then we're gonna take these panels and close them back up to fill in the hollow space. Take these panels, flip them in, and close it, and this forms the leg. Unlike Bumblebee, this is what I wished Bumblebee had done, which is to have panels to close up this hollow space. I really wish Bumblebee came with some panels on his sides to close in that hollow space that he has in his torso. But I digress. So now we take these pieces here and flip them down to form his foot, and I'm actually going to go ahead and take this gun and rotate it upwards to kind of get out of the way. I could pop it off, but I just rather rotate it. We take the feet over here, pop it out, flip it down, and then inside the feet are these panels right there, and basically what I like to do is press on this other end of the panel, and this will pop the panel open, flip it down, and then you got your heel. Do this on the same side, Do this on the other side, I mean. Take this, flip it down, form a heel. And there are his legs. No, go home, Darkmount, you're drunk. Alright, and last but not least, let me see how I can show this. There's that red tab right there, and that's going to go into that slot. So you take this, you fidget with it, if you will, and you pop it in, like so. And that collapses to form his torso, and there we have Darkmount. Oh, but wait, he's not complete. We got to take those two pieces that came undone earlier and pop them back on. The best way to do this is to have the more bulky sides of the pieces facing down instead of up, because then that'll make them look even bulkier, whereas this, you know, it makes him look a little more compact and makes him look like he has a nice little backpack. So we're going to rotate him, and there are these two red pegs on either side of his back here, and basically we just we take these pieces, and there's a gap right there, and that peg goes into that gap. See if you can see it. That circular gap right there. So we're just gonna pop them on like so. So on the other side, and basically we just take the two pieces and clasp them together via these tabs right here, like that. Fold it in, and now here we have Darkmount. And I gotta say, I can't say, I gotta say that I can't say, but I can say that I'm saying that, that this is actually a really likable figure. That's the best way that I can put it. A really likable figure that you just can't help but like. And I want to say it's one of my favorites, but I do have some problems. Before I carry on, his weapon is transformable somewhat. Basically, you just take this piece that fell down again, and we flip it up so that he has something to hold on to at the hilt of what's going to be his pickaxe, his weapon of choice. And basically you just take this piece and flip it down to hide the peg that lodged into his, and we pop it into place. We take these two things, I don't know what to call them, but we're going to flip them up, and that forms his pickaxe, Cybertronian pickaxe. And it goes into either one of his hands, and I'll talk about that in a second as to why he can put the pickaxe in either one of his hands. But there we have Darkmount. And, you know, he looks cool, alright? I know I say that often, but I like his design. However, the reason why I like his design is different than why I like the design for, say, you know, War for Cybertron Bumblebee or War for Cybertron Prime or Megatron. The reason why I like the design for Darkmount in this case is because it looks, well, for one, it looks intimidating. Well, to an extent, and I'll talk about that once I get to his color scheme. But I like his design because it genuinely looks intimidating, especially his head sculpt. Look at that head. I mean, does that not look scary? I mean, it looks very Predator-like. And when I say Predator, I don't mean the alien. I mean, you know, he has that look on his face like he is an apex predator. He is a hunter. And I didn't look too much into the bio for Darkmount when it came to the comics or the manga, but he does give off that vibe that he is some sort of predator for the Decepticons. And obviously he's a Decepticon. He's obviously a bad guy. I mean, you don't look at this guy and say, oh, he's super jolly. No, he means business. And, you know, the fact that he chooses a pickaxe over a gun, although he does have these smaller weapons mainly for his tank mode, but the fact that his primary weapon of choice is a pickaxe just, you know, screams not only badass, but just intimidation. I like the proportions. I like how hefty he looks, you know, for a deluxe class figure. He looks like what a deluxe class figure should be. However, there are some glaring issues that I personally have with the figure that keep me from fully enjoying this figure. And one of those things was what I was referring to in his tank mode, and that is his color scheme. I don't like the decision of making him this really bright blue. I mean, it's not necessarily, it's not like baby blue or light blue. It's like, you know, basic blue. And not only is it unrealistic for a tank to be of this color, but it kind of takes away from the intimidation factor because, like I said, I like his sculpt. I like the way they molded his head. He looks scary. He looks scary for what which is what a Decepticon is supposed to be. But the color just completely takes it away from it. If they're gonna go with blue, give him like the blue that would like indigo blue, like the blue of the GameCube. That that color is a little more. It's a little more purple looking, and purple is the default color of the Decepticons. Every time you see a Decepticon symbol, it's always purple, and Autobots are always red. So, to make them just a little more purple, more on the color scheme as like Shockwave, that would have been a little more helpful, especially since he's a tank. Now, David, I understand that the same argument could be made for Soundwave, whose default color scheme has always been blue, but his blue, again, there were certain iterations of Soundwave where his blue was more of a navy blue, it was darker, so, and of course Soundwave had that voice. He had that voice to back him up and to make him look more intimidating, so here where we have Darkmount, a character that we're not so familiar with, I would have liked a darker color scheme to go with not only the blue, I mean the gray is fine, leave the gray alone, the gray, I like the gray is fine. Especially the metallic gray that he has going on here on the axe. So the gray is fine, but the red and the blue, especially the fact that we have more blue than red, if you want to leave the red, that's fine because we have a lot less red than blue. But the fact that almost the entire figure is blue, give them a navy blue or an indigo blue or a lavender, more purple looking blue, something that's a little more intimidating, dark, and very very opaque. To go along with his intimidating look. And the other thing that I don't like about this figure is the articulation. Overall, his articulation is decent. It's very basic, basic joints at the knee. His foot does pivot a little bit as well as, move up and down, and that's mainly because of the transformation, like always, but it's still very nice. And he does have a top thigh swivel right there, and he does have a ball joint at the upper leg. A nice ball joint here at the upper arm, so he has an awful lot of posability here in the arm, as well as a hinge joint right there. Actually, it's a tab joint right there. I like to call it a tab joint. My problem, however, actually before I get to that, he also has some really good articulation in his hands. They rotate a full 360 degrees, as well as move. They're on what appears to be a ball joint, so they're able to move in and out slightly, like so. And on top of that, he also has articulated fingers. Now, they're not articulated individually. It would be amazing if they were. But his 4 fingers, even though they're molded together, they do open and close. And because of that, that makes that gives him the ability to hold his axe on either hand, like I was referring to before. And he also has waist articulation, so that's cool. But my problem with the articulation are two different things. One, his top leg articulation here, the 2 joints here, the 2 ball joints at the very top, are extremely loose. So when you pose him a certain way, and let me see if I can see. There you go. See, you start moving him, he starts falling back, and it looks like he's doing the limbo. Yeah, his articulation on the top joint, the top leg joints over here at the top, they're very loose. So you have to get him in this position where you have to use his backpack as a counterbalance, and that way you'll be able to put him in some decent poses. And on top of that, there's also some missing articulation. One would be in his head. His head is attached to his body via this tab joint right here. And because it's attached, all you can do is simply rotate his head 360 degrees, but there's absolutely no articulation of moving it up and down without moving this panel that is, of course, movable due to the transformation. And of course, when you move it up and down, that'll cause this panel here to start moving, because obviously in order to transform him back, you need to open this panel, hide his face, and whatnot. So I would have liked to have seen at least one ball joint in his head, ball joint in there, even if it's a really small one. Put one in there, that would have been nice. But I don't like that his head is attached to this peg right here, and that's your only means of articulation. And last but not least would be his elbow articulation. He only has one vertically rotatable joint, so he's only able to bend at the elbow vertically up to there. So he doesn't bend fully at the elbow, and that's definitely a negative. However, he does have this hinge joint right there. And you can bend it at that joint. Ooh, see, now those pieces are getting separated. But you can bend it like so. Now, I don't know why Hasbro did that. I don't see myself positioning Darkmount or posing Darkmount in a certain way where he's going to be able to use that joint because it just looks weird. But I guess they tried to make up for the fact that there's no double elbow joint. Yeah, just make a double elbow joint and we'll be happy. Other than that, that's pretty much it for Darkmount. You know, like I said, I would love this figure if it wasn't for these glaring problems that I personally have. I don't know if I'm the only one who has a figure with loose articulation on the top of his legs. If that was missing, then I would definitely go a little bit easier on this figure and try to separate my actual complaints from just, you know, personal preferences such as the color scheme. But like I said before, working treads for his tank mode. But other than that, he's a good figure. Actually, I think that's the only way that you can use this joint is to have him hold the... There you go. Okay. Okay, never mind, guys. I did find one pose to use that joint in his elbow. And that's it right there. Okay. There's one pose that you can use that joint. That's cool. I still would have preferred a double jointed elbow with two rotatable vertical joints instead of just one in the hinge joint, but that's just me. Anyways, the figure's cool. I like his alternate mode. I like his sculpt, his decal, his size. I really like how he feels like a fully realized deluxe class figure and not something that was shrunken down. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But, you know, these issues, I just really wish they weren't there. And if they weren't there, I would have had an even bigger delight and a bigger delightful surprise with this figure, considering that I know almost nothing about him. And therefore, without having any expectations about the figure, I would have been blown away by it. But with that being said, I give Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Darkmount an 8.0 out of 10, which is a B-. I still recommend it. It's not the best of the bunch, but it could have easily been. Be sure to check out BigBadToyStore.com for this figure as well as anything else Transformers and anything else figure related to satisfy your collecting needs. BigBadToyStore.com. It's big, it's bad, it has it all. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.